Your next accredited speaker candidate is not on the New York Times bestsellers list. He hasn't even written a book. He hasn't been seen on television or heard on radio. He's just a local boy from Hawaii who served in the Honolulu Police Department for over 30 years. As a police officer, Robert was a hostage negotiator and effectively managed conflicts with deadly consequences. He believes if he shares with you what he's learned as a mediator, you too will be effective in managing conflict in your life. Robert is a graduate of the FBI National Academy and is on the faculty of the Hawaii Pacific University. He is also the managing agent of Hawaiian Island Investigations, a private firm providing investigation and security services for clients like the National Football League and the Hawaii Hotel Visitor Industry Security Association. Robert has trained the leadership of the United States Army, McDonald's of Hawaii, and even the Hawaiian Humane Society. Ladies and gentlemen, with his presentation, How to Kick Conflict, please welcome Robert Cravalho. Have fun.
Great time. Thank you so much.
No, I can't walk on water, and I can't read your mind, but I won't be without you knowing I try.
Good morning. I wanted to talk to you about conflict today, but I'm not referring to global conflict or conflict between nations. I'm referring to arguments or disagreements between two individuals or groups of individuals. Have you ever been involved in that type of conflict? I think we all have. Are you confident with your abilities to resolve those types of conflicts? Thomas Crum is a noted author and lecturer on conflict resolution, and he believes that the quality of our life does not depend on whether we have conflict or not, but how we respond to it. And I believe that's where the challenge exists. We don't know how to effectively manage conflict in our everyday life. If you don't know how to change a flat tire on your automobile, it's a difficult task. But if you learn the process, it's simple, yes? And that's what we're going to do today. We are going to learn how to effectively manage conflict. I promise you that what you will glean today will help you manage conflict with your significant other, with your coworkers, with your friends. Hey, this will even work on your children. You see, I'm a subject matter expert in this field. I was a police officer for over 30 years. I dealt with conflict on a daily basis. And as a hostage negotiator, I dealt with conflict with deadly consequences. I have to admit, though, as in my early career as a police officer, I wasn't very good at managing conflict. I didn't know how. Nobody taught me. So I would use sarcasm and actually create more conflict. I remember one particular morning I was given a traffic assignment. I was to enforce the speed limit on the highway. And you thought police work was exciting. And then I spotted her, a vehicle traveling faster than the posted speed limit sign. I locked her in at 77 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone, and I gave chase. It was a little sports car, two-door drop top, lone female driver, attractive girl, probably in her early 20s, and not too pleased about being stopped by the police. I gave her my standard greeting. Good morning, miss. I'm stopping you for traveling 77 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. Did you not read the posted speed limit signs back there? Her answer? Not quite what I expected. Sorry, officer, but I never did learn how to speed read. I'm thinking if she's going to drive that fast, she should probably take a lesson. And then, without warning, she attempts to become the dreaded name dropper. Those traffic violators who believe just because they know someone, they shouldn't get a traffic citation. Excuse me, officer, but do you know who my father is? I'm not going to let her go there. You mean your mommy never told you? I know, right? I would cause more conflict with my sarcasm. But through my training and experience, I've come up with some simple rules, takeaways that you can use to effectively manage conflict in your everyday life. You ready to get this party started? Then let the lesson begin. Your first takeaway: if it's important to them, it's important to you. Please write that down in your handouts that are on your seats when you entered. And for those of you who are live streaming, you can download the handout from the Toastmasters app. Takeaway number one: if it's important to them, it's important to you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so difficult to do. How often does someone come to you with one of their concerns and you think, how insignificant? I remember when I was a lieutenant in charge of internal affairs, Sue, one of my civilian clerks, came barging in my office early that morning and announced, "Lieutenant, we have a problem. Every day after lunch, Gail leaves her dirty dishes in the office kitchen sink with her half-eaten food, and it's gross." Time out. I'm a lieutenant with internal affairs. I manage all investigations into police misconduct. I answer directly to the chief of police. I have the prosecutor on speed dial. Where do you think dirty dishes in the office kitchen sink land on my priority list? Newsflash, it doesn't. But what's the takeaway? If it's important to them, it's important to you. So I assured Sue that I would look into the matter. Later that day, right after lunch, I watched and I witnessed Gail commit her crime. And I confronted her. "Hey, Gail, are those your dirty dishes in the office kitchen sink?" "Oh, yes, Lieutenant. I just put a little warm water and some detergent and let it soak, and it's easier to clean." "I see. Hey, Gail, do you think maybe it's a little inconsiderate, though, leaving your dirty dishes in the office kitchen sink for the next person who's going to use it?" "Lieutenant, I never thought of it that way. But you're right. I should clean my dirty dishes. I'll do that from now on. Thank you, Lieutenant." Now to Sue, I'm a hero. Her concern was my concern, and I did something about it. If I did nothing to Sue, I'd be a big fat zero, and I would have lost all credibility with her. So remember the takeaway. If it's important to them, it's important to you. Takeaway number two: when emotion is high, logic is low. When emotion is high, logic is low. Have you ever been so angry that you responded or took some action and later had regrets? Yes? We've all done that. That's because our emotion was high, our logic was low. If we would have waited for emotion to subside, logic would have taken over and we'd probably make a better decision. Think of a teeter-totter with emotion on one side and logic on the other side. When emotion is high, logic is low. But if you bring down emotion, what happens to the logic? Now, a couple things you should note here. If you're involved in the conflict, make sure you keep your emotions in check so you're thinking logically. In addition, it doesn't matter what the emotion is. When we're in conflict, it's usually anger, but it could be sadness. It could even be happiness. It doesn't matter. If emotion is high, logic is low. Takeaway number 3. It's not about talking, it's about listening. It's not about talking, it's about listening. Do you listen to respond, or do you listen to understand? After about a year of investigating violent crimes as a detective with the Criminal Investigation Division, my lieutenant called me into her office. At the time, my lieutenant was not only in charge of the violent crime unit, but she was also in charge of the hostage negotiation team, a group of elite, highly trained detectives that were summoned to manage some life or death situations. So you can imagine how excited I was when she explained there was an opening on the team. She wanted to know if I was interested in the position. Are you kidding me? Be a hostage negotiator for the Honolulu Police Department? Yeah, I want to do that. And then my excitement turned into concern. Did I have the right stuff? I mean, what would I say to somebody who's holding a gun to their head? Or worse, holding a gun to somebody else's head? I made my concerns known to the lieutenant, and that's when she dropped the bomb on me. She said, Bobby, it's not about talking, it's about listening. Listening. What a concept. And when I say listen, I don't mean just listen with your ears. Listen with your eyes. Make sure you have good eye contact. Listen with your face. Make sure your facial expressions match the message. Listen with your gestures and your body posture. Make sure they're consistent. Encourage communication by using short words or phrases. You could say, "Oh, really? I didn't know that. Please continue." I want you to paraphrase the message and then repeat it back to the sender to demonstrate that you're not only listening, but that you understand. And here's the key to active listening. You want to listen for that emotion. Whatever it is, listen for that emotion, identify it, and then empathize with it. Wow, you sound angry. I am angry. I understand. You're angry. You know, if that happened to me, I would be angry too. I get it. You're angry. Active listening is a perishable skill, so you have to practice every chance you get. Remember, it's not about talking, it's about listening. Takeaway number 4. Create a win-win opportunity. Create a win-win opportunity. Now, the best way to explain this takeaway is with a simple game that I learned from Dr. Stephen Covey. Do you all know how to play tic-tac-toe? Well, today, we're going to play extreme tic-tac-toe. What I want you to do is look into your handout and find the grid. Now, in regular tic-tac-toe, there are 9 squares to the grid. But this is extreme tic-tac-toe, so there's 16. What I want you to do is partner up with whoever's seated next to you. Doesn't matter whether you know them or not, friend, foe, whatever. I just want you to partner up with whoever's sitting next to you and then find that grid. You play the game the same way. You take turns placing X's and O's on the grid. But because this is extreme tic-tac-toe, instead of 3 in a row, you want 4 in a row. And the game continues until the grid is completely filled. Now remember, you want to create a win-win opportunity. So as you're playing the game, you want to win as many games as you can. And that's 2 games apiece. That's your maximum, so that's what you're shooting for. Oh, and one more thing. Because this is extreme tic-tac-toe, it's a timed event. You only have 15 seconds to play the game. Are you ready to play? Get set, begin. 10 seconds left. Five seconds left. And stop. Pens up. How many people won 2 games each? Did you win 2 games each? Anybody else? Somebody back there? We got a smart crowd. Way back there? Good job. How many people won 1 game each? Yeah? How many people didn't win a game at all? Oh my. It's because you're not trying to create that win-win opportunity. Computer, play a game of extreme tic-tac-toe and create a win-win opportunity. Did you feel your paradigm shift? Why is it in order for me to win, you have to lose? Why can't I win some and you win some? Now, don't get me wrong, I get it. In an Olympic event, there's only 1 gold medal. And in order for an athlete to win that medal, another athlete has to lose and receive the silver. I get that, but that's in a contest. When we're talking about conflict, compromise is key. So remember the takeaway, create a win-win opportunity. And there's your 4 takeaways. If it's important to them, it's important to you. When emotion is high, logic is low. It's not about talking, it's about listening and create a win-win opportunity. These 4 takeaways provide you with a strong foundation to understand a simple process that you can use to effectively manage conflict in your everyday life. And here it is. I call it the KICK method. K stands for kindness. The I stands for identify. The C stands for compromise, and the K stands for kindness. Let's begin at the top. K stands for kindness. Establishing good rapport with others is essential to your success in life. Would you agree with that statement? Sure. It's essential that we create good rapport with everyone we meet. And if we remember takeaway number 1, if it's important to them, it's important to you, you will always be approachable. People will come to you for help. They will listen to you, and more importantly, they will trust you. So remember, the K stands for kindness. The I stands for identify. You want to identify the emotion. Now, most people in conflict are emotionally charged, so it's important that you identify the emotion. What did we learn in takeaway number 2? When emotion is high, logic is low. You want to identify that emotion. And how do you do it? What did we learn in takeaway number 3? It's not about talking, it's about listening. You want to listen for that emotion, identify it, and then empathize with it. Wow, you sound pretty sad. Yeah, I am sad. I understand. You're sad. I get it. Hey, listen, if that happened to me, I'd be sad too. I get it. When we empathize with someone who's in conflict that is emotionally charged, we allow them the opportunity to bring that emotion down so that logic can take over. And once logic takes over, we can move to the C, compromise. What did we learn in takeaway number 4? Create a win-win opportunity. It is the responsibility of both individuals in the conflict to reach some sort of agreement or some sort of compromise to bring the conflict to resolution. And as a side note, when you offer your compromise, do so in the form of a question. Nobody wants to be told, this is the compromise. We want to be asked. You might say, would you be agreeable if I did A and you did B? Or you might say, hey, how about this plan? What if we X, Y, Z? When we offer a compromise in the form of a question, we promote dialogue, and that's how compromises are reached, when the 2 individuals are speaking. And once you reach the compromise and you resolve your conflict, end with kindness. And some of you might be thinking, what? Kindness again? Yes. It's important that you end the process with the same step that you started the process. In the event you have to go through and begin again, or you might deal with the same individual on a later date on a different conflict. So there you have it, the KICK method. Start out with kindness, Identify the emotion, empathize, allow it to subside so you can come up with a compromise and end his kindness. You want to see the kick method at work? Remember that young girl I stopped in the beginning? I should have used the kick method. I should have started with kindness. This young woman is a part of the community that I swore to protect and serve. I should treat her with respect regardless of her actions. I should have realized that she was emotionally charged. Because when you think of her responses to my questions, not very logical, were they? I should have taken the time to identify that emotion, offer a compromise, and end with kindness. Let's pick it up where she tries to become the dreaded name dropper. Excuse me, officer, but do you know who my father is? No, miss, I don't. Who is your dad? Well, it doesn't matter. He's going to be so angry at me when he finds out I got a speeding citation. Oh? Yeah. And when he finds out how fast I was going, he's going to be furious. Really? Yeah. It's not going to be a pretty picture. So when your father finds out you got a speeding ticket and how fast you're going, he's going to be pretty angry. Yeah, that about sums it up, officer. You sound upset. Yeah, I am upset. I'm really upset with myself. I don't know what I was doing. I never drive that fast. And I'm upset because I'm going to anger my father so. You know, I get it. You're upset. Nobody wants to disappoint a parent, and nobody wants to get a speeding citation. I get it. You're upset. You know, if I was in your situation, I'd be upset too. Thanks for understanding, officer. You're welcome. Hey, listen, I have to issue the citation, but instead of 77 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone, what if we reduce the speed to 67 miles per hour? Would you do that, officer? Sure, if it helps you explain it to your dad. Oh, it would tremendously. Thank you, officer. You're welcome. I'll be right back. And it really is that simple. What you have now is a basic understanding and a process that you can use to manage conflict in your everyday life. It was my pleasure to serve you this morning. My wish is that you will be successful in everything that you do. And I pray that no matter what obstacle you face, you never, ever, ever become discouraged. Oh, and one more thing. If you find yourself in conflict with a loved one or someone you care about, just kick it. Thank you, Canada. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Please allow 2 minutes of silence so the judges may complete their ballots. Thank you once again to Cheryl Rausch and our very wise panelists. Wasn't that very worthwhile? Yes. Some fabulous information there. I'm sure you'll all benefit from that. Now, the moment we've been waiting for. The results have been tabulated, and to give us the results, let me welcome past District 21 Governor, accredited speaker, distinguished Toastmaster, Bob Huey. Thanks so much. It even says results, just in case I didn't know. Feels like the Academy Awards, doesn't it? Official Toastmaster logo. This year, we have, hold your breath, 6 candidates who will earn the prestigious Accredited Speaker Award designation. Number 5, Robert Cavajo.
Como é bom falar com meu amor a sós. Como é bom beijar e ouvir a sua voz. Quanta alegria eu sinto em ficar assim, eu bem pertinho dela, ela perto de mim. De amor eu vou falar quando a noite chegar.
Wow, wasn't this a great morning? Thank you for attending today's program, and if you would like more information, please visit www.toastmasters.org/membership/accredited speaker. Once again, if you'd like to take pictures with the new accredited speakers, you can join them outside at the flag station. Thank you so much for being here today.